September 1914. The German army is just 30 miles from Paris. The French government has already fled the capital. And Europe stands on the edge of a victory that could end the war before it truly begins. But on these fields along this river, the Allies will make a stand that changes the course of history. This is the First Battle of the Marne. In August 1914, Germany launched the audacious Schlieffen Plan, a strategic masterpiece designed to deliver a swift knockout blow to France within 6 weeks. This massive right hook attack aimed to bypass French defenses by sweeping through neutral Belgium and northern France. The initial advance was devastatingly effective, catching the Allies off guard. Belgium, a neutral nation, was swiftly overrun, its small but determined army unable to stem the tide. The British Expeditionary Force, though valiant, was pushed back at Mons, suffering heavy casualties. French armies, reeling from early defeats and strategic miscalculations, were forced into a desperate, prolonged retreat, their morale plummeting with each lost mile. By the end of August, the relentless German 1st and 2nd Armies had not only crossed the Marne River, but were within striking distance of Paris, the capital, once seemingly impregnable, now braced for an imminent siege. Panic began to ripple through the city, with civilians fleeing in droves. The French government had already relocated to Bordeaux, a stark symbol of the impending crisis. In a desperate measure, even the Paris police were issued rifles, preparing for street-to-street combat against the advancing German forces. The fall of Paris seemed inevitable, a crushing blow that could end the war. But one man refused to surrender the capital, General Joseph Joffre. He saw something the Germans did not, a widening gap between their advancing armies. On September 5th, French Commander-in-Chief Joseph Joffre, a man of unwavering resolve, issued a simple yet profound order to his beleaguered troops: no further retreat. This declaration marked a pivotal moment, signaling a shift from defensive withdrawal to offensive action, a desperate gamble to save Paris. The German First Army, under General von Kluck, had made a critical strategic error. In their haste to encircle Paris, they had swung too far east, inadvertently exposing their right flank to the French Sixth Army. This tactical blunder created a dangerous vulnerability in the German advance. This mistake, coupled with the sheer exhaustion of the German troops after weeks of relentless marching, severely stretched supply lines and increasingly poor communication between the German First and Second Armies, created a once-in-a-war opportunity for the Allies to strike back. The French Sixth Army, positioned to the west of Paris, was the first to seize this opportunity, launching a fierce attack on von Kluck's exposed flank. Simultaneously, the British Expeditionary Force, though battered and weary from their retreat, moved cautiously but decisively into the widening gap between the German armies. For the first time since the war began, the tide began to turn. The Allies, against all odds, were not just holding their ground, but were actively advancing, pushing back against the seemingly unstoppable German war machine. Hope, long absent, flickered to life. As the battle raged, the French Sixth Army found itself in desperate need of reinforcements to press their advantage. It was in this critical moment that one of the most iconic and improvised logistical operations in military history unfolded, a testament to French ingenuity and determination. General Gallieni, the military governor of Paris, made a bold decision. He requisitioned approximately 600 Parisian taxis, transforming them from civilian transport into an impromptu military convoy. These humble vehicles were about to play an unexpected role in saving the capital. Drivers, many of them civilians, were ordered to ferry soldiers to the front lines. Each cab was packed with 5 men, their rifles held precariously between their knees, a surreal image of modern warfare meeting everyday life. The convoy, stretching for miles, became a lifeline. Through the night, a river of red and yellow vehicles hummed toward the battlefield, their headlights cutting through the darkness. This extraordinary sight, a civilian fleet mobilized for war, symbolized the total commitment of the French nation to its defense. While the taxis did not single-handedly win the battle, their rapid deployment of troops to the front lines was crucial in shoring up the French defenses and launching counterattacks. They became an enduring symbol of a nation refusing to fall, a miracle of the Marne in miniature. From September 6th to 9th, 1914, the tranquil fields and villages along the Marne River became the stage for epic confrontation. More than 2 million men, representing the French, British, and German armies, clashed across a sprawling 150-mile front. The scale of the battle was unprecedented, a maelstrom of steel and fire. The fighting was chaotic, brutal, and often devolved into desperate hand-to-hand combat amidst the smoke and confusion. Artillery barrages tore through the landscape, infantry charges met fierce resistance, and the air was thick with the smell of cordite and fear. Every inch of ground was contested with unimaginable ferocity. Despite their initial successes, the German forces were fighting on increasingly thin lines. General von Kluck's First Army, having marched hundreds of miles in a relentless pursuit, was severely overstretched. The rapid advance had taken its toll, leaving his troops exhausted and vulnerable. Crucially, their supply lines struggled to keep pace with the lightning-fast offensive, leading to shortages of ammunition, food, and fresh water. This logistical nightmare severely hampered their fighting effectiveness and morale. The critical flaw in the German plan became glaringly apparent: the widening gap between the First and Second Armies. This chasm, a result of miscommunication and the sheer speed of their advance, grew larger with every passing hour, creating a dangerous vulnerability that the Allies were quick to exploit. The BEF exploited the gap, pushing deep into German positions. French armies pressed forward across the entire front. German commander Helmuth von Moltke received fragmented, contradictory reports. He lost control of the battle, and on September 9th, he ordered a retreat. The German retreat from the Marne marked the unequivocal failure of the audacious Schlieffen Plan. Paris, once on the brink of capture, was saved, and with it, the immediate collapse of the Western Front was averted. The war, which many had predicted would be over by Christmas, would not end in 1914. However, this pivotal victory came at a terrible cost. The First Battle of the Marne resulted in staggering casualties, with more than 300,000 men killed, wounded, or missing in just a few brutal days of fighting. The human toll was immense, a grim foreshadowing of the horrors to come. As the Germans withdrew northward, they did not simply flee. They strategically dug in along the Aisne River, establishing formidable defensive positions. This marked a significant shift in the nature of the conflict, moving away from mobile warfare. The Allies, in turn, dug in opposite them, creating a parallel line of trenches. This defensive stalemate initiated what became known as the Race to the Sea, as both sides desperately tried to outflank each other, extending their trench lines all the way to the English Channel. And so, the Western Front, once a fluid battlefield, froze into the intricate and deadly trench system that would define the next 4 years of brutal attritional warfare. The open fields of the Marne gave way to a landscape scarred by barbed wire, dugouts, and no man's land. The First Battle of the Marne was far more than just a military victory. It was a profound turning point in the Great War. It shattered the illusion of a quick German triumph and fundamentally altered the strategic landscape of the conflict. It was the moment the Allies, against overwhelming odds, stopped a war-winning offensive and forced Germany into a long, grinding war of attrition, a conflict it was ill-equipped to sustain in the long run. This strategic shift ultimately proved decisive. This improbable victory became known as the Miracle of the Marne. It was a miracle born not of sheer luck, but of the extraordinary courage and resilience of the French and British soldiers, the brilliant improvisation of commanders like Gallieni, and the unwavering determination of a nation refusing to surrender its capital. The battle cemented the resolve of the Allied forces and demonstrated that the German war machine was not invincible. It bought precious time for the Allies to regroup and prepare for the protracted struggle ahead, forever changing the trajectory of World War I. The war had irrevocably changed, transforming from a war of movement into a brutal stalemate. And with it, the world would never be the same, forever marked by the sacrifices and lessons learned on the fields of the Marne.